For centuries, humans were nothing but a legend, a forgotten whisper passed down between elder species, a ghost story about a race so stubborn, not even time could kill them. No homeworld, no ruins, no proof they ever existed, just rumors. The Galactic Council laughed at the idea of humans. They ruled the stars now, stretching across thousands of worlds. Their fleets were unmatched. Their technology was supreme. They thought nothing could challenge them. Then came the Drek Dominion, a brutal empire, a force that burned entire star systems and left nothing behind. No one stood in their way, not even the Council. Until one day, the skies above Xanthera Prime split open. Like reality itself had been torn apart. From the breach came ships, but not like any the galaxy had seen before. Not elegant, not organic, not anything like Elvari or Zarathi warcraft. These ships were angular, scarred, ruthless, forged in fire. No markings, no colors, just metal, fire, and fury. And then, a voice. Final. We are human, and we have returned. The Drek laughed. To them, humanity was just a bedtime story, a ghost from history. So they fired the first shot. A direct hit. A full plasma volley aimed at the lead human ship. It should have vaporized it, but it didn't. The human ship absorbed it, like a monster waking up. And then it answered. No fancy energy beam. No high-tech display. Just pure destruction. Massive kinetic slugs, the size of skyscrapers, ripped through space like thunder. The Drek's shields shattered like glass. Their formations broke. Their confidence collapsed. The humans advanced without hesitation. Every movement sharp, every shot lethal. They didn't just win. They obliterated the Drek in 4 hours. Thousands of ships, gone. And then, silence. A new message came. This galaxy forgot us. You erased our name. You whispered of our end. The pause. You were wrong. The galaxy trembled. The Council watched in disbelief. They had thought humans were extinct, a species that destroyed itself in its own madness. But the truth? Humanity didn't vanish. They were hiding, evolving, preparing. They were back. And they weren't looking for friends. They came as conquerors. It wasn't the human weapons that terrified the galaxy. It was their silence. No boasts, no warnings, no negotiations. Just quiet, unstoppable destruction. On the Council capital world of Zivora, fear gripped the Grand Hall like a vice. This wasn't diplomacy anymore. This was panic. Every empire had sent a representative. Even the arrogant Zorothi swarm, who once swore never to kneel to the Council, now showed up, nervous, twitching, scared. A hologram hovered over the center of the chamber, glowing with dread. System after system, planet after planet. The humans weren't stopping. They weren't just fighting the Drek. They were dismantling them. Station by station, world by world. The mighty Drek, feared conquerors of entire sectors, were now nothing more than prey. High Chancellor Vexari addressed the silent chamber. This is no myth. Humanity is real. And they are advancing. A general hissed from the shadows. Have they sent any message? Any terms? Kale Theras, an Elvari diplomat, stood solemnly. Nothing. No threats. No demands. Just silence and action. A Zorothi broodmother chittered sharply. Then they're no better than the Drek. Let's crush them before they become gods. But Vexari shook her head. No, you're wrong. She waved her hand. The display shifted. A new transmission. Granular quality, but the voice? Terrifying. We do not seek war, but we will not be forgotten. Then footage from a captured Drek planet. What the Council expected to see was destruction, chaos, blood. But instead, factories rebuilt, orbital defenses restored, the local people safe. No massacres, no conquest, just control. Kale Theras muttered in disbelief. This isn't the work of invaders. And Vexari finished his sentence. It's the work of an empire. A forgotten empire. reclaiming what was once theirs. Far from the chamber, aboard the UHS Retribution, Admiral Elias Varos stood watching the rebirth of a captured world. His crew worked silently, efficiently. This wasn't a mission. It was history being rewritten. Another intercepted message blinked onto the screen. The Council was calling. They wanted peace. Admiral Varos read the message, exhaled slowly, and smiled. So, they finally understand. Captain Vasquez raised a brow. Do we respond? Varos turned back to the stars. Not yet. First, we make them remember who we are. Weeks passed. Still, the humans said nothing. But their silence? It was louder than any war cry. They didn't attack Council worlds. They didn't gloat. They just kept marching through Drek territory, burning down centuries of conquest like it was paper. The Council watched as world after world fell. But this wasn't a war. It was an extinction. Humanity didn't fight like anyone else. No drawn-out sieges. No messy politics. Every battle was swift. Every decision, final. Even the Drek homeworld, Karvok 6, was now under siege. Something the entire Galactic Council had never managed to do, the humans did in 1 month. Reports flooded in. 42 Drek worlds fallen. Thousands of warships destroyed. Human casualties? Barely noticeable. But what truly unsettled the Council? No war crimes. No slaughter. Only the warlords and generals were executed. Civilians were untouched. One counselor whispered the unthinkable. They're not conquerors. They're erasers. They are rewriting history. Fear turned into desperation. Vexari stood, her voice calm but commanding. Perhaps it's time we stop fearing them and start understanding them. Gasps echoed. You would go to them? A counselor shouted. To monsters. But Vexari didn't flinch. They are not monsters. They are survivors. And if we don't understand them, we will all fall. Back on the Retribution, Admiral Varos watched the final flames of the Drek homeworld flicker through the viewport. The Drek refused to surrender, so they were wiped out. Then a chime. A new signal. Captain Vasquez turned, stunned. Admiral, we're receiving a direct transmission. Admiral Elias Varos frowned. More Drek resistance? Captain Vasquez swallowed. No, sir. It's from the Galactic Council. Varos turned, his voice sharpening. Another empty message? No, Admiral. They're sending an envoy. For a moment, silence blanketed the bridge of the UHS Retribution. The humans had ignored every message until now. But the Council? They were desperate enough to send someone in person. Varos's eyes drifted to the burning Drek world below. Let them come, he said coldly. But they won't recognize the galaxy they left behind. A single sleek vessel dropped from hyperspace, marked not by weapons but by diplomacy. The Galactic Council's seal shimmered on its hull. It was elegant, peaceful, and utterly alone. It hovered near the Retribution, dwarfed by the sheer scale of the human warfleet. These were no longer myths. These were titans in orbit. Inside the Council ship, High Chancellor Vexari sat rigid. This was madness. Some called it suicide. No alien had stood before a human in diplomacy or in war, until now. But the humans didn't fire, didn't threaten, didn't flinch. A single voice came through the comms. Docking sequence authorized. You may proceed. Cold, calculated, emotionless. Her second in command, Relan, tensed beside her. This could be an ambush. Vexari replied without hesitation. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be ashes. The airlock hissed open. Human soldiers appeared, armored in black and gray, faceless, disciplined. Not a single wasted movement. Not a hint of fear. These weren't guards. These were executioners on standby. At their center stood the man she came to meet, Admiral Elias Varos. He carried no medals, no show of power, just presence, a weight, a force of nature in human skin. His voice cut through the silence. You asked for a meeting. Here we are. Vexari swallowed, stepping forward. I am High Chancellor Vexari, speaking for the Galactic Council. I know who you are. His reply was flat. Not aggressive. Not warm. Just truth. She tried to find footing, the kind of delicate balance that had worked on emperors and tyrants. But this was different. Then you know why I've come. Varos turned away. Walk with me. She followed him through the halls of the Retribution. They weren't pretty. They weren't meant to be. These ships weren't built for comfort. They were forged for war. You ignored our calls, she said carefully. You had nothing we needed, Varos replied. We were busy. Busy wiping out an entire species? He stopped, slowly turning to face her. They were already dead. They just didn't know it yet. No malice. No hate. Just cold, horrifying certainty. She tried to breathe. And after the Drek? What happens then? Varos stared into her. That depends. On what? He leaned closer, voice like a blade. On whether the rest of you repeat their mistakes. The message was clear. Challenge humanity and be erased. This wasn't pride. This wasn't politics. This was justice wrapped in silence. Vexari had faced warlords, monsters, manipulators. But she had never stood across from someone like Varos. He didn't speak like a ruler. He spoke like a reckoning. He led her into a plain, dim room. One table. Tactical displays lined the walls, each one showing the collapse of the Drek Dominion in real time. Worlds falling. Fleets burning. Sit. Vexari did. Varos remained standing. You came to talk. So talk. She took a slow breath. The Council wishes to open negotiations with humanity. For what? He asked. Not curious. Not intrigued. Just hollow. We didn't erase your history out of hate. You vanished. No ruins. No messages. We thought. You assumed. Varos cut in. You were wrong. His voice turned cold. We were never gone. We were watching. A chill ran through her spine. She tried again. If you were watching, then you know the Council isn't your enemy. But deep down, she already knew. This wasn't about enemies. This wasn't about politics. This was about memory. A forgotten species had returned. And now, the galaxy would remember. The Drek had enslaved and slaughtered countless civilizations. And yet, the Council did nothing. Admiral Elias Varos didn't even raise his voice. You let them. High Chancellor Vexari had no response. She sat in silence as Varos leaned forward, resting his hands on the cold metal table. Tell me, Chancellor, why are you really here? Vexari took a long breath. Because the Council fears what comes after the Drek are gone. Varos smirked faintly. Smart. For once. He leaned back, eyes sharp as steel. Let's talk truth. Your Council doesn't want peace. It wants control. You want to contain us, to keep humanity from becoming what it was always meant to be. Vexari's voice was tight. And what's that? Varos met her gaze. To take back what's ours. Her heart sank. You believe the galaxy belongs to you? His lips twitched with something between a grin and a warning. Not all of it. Just the parts that were stolen. And we'll never let that happen again. She clenched her fists beneath the table. She had come here hoping for reason, for diplomacy, but what she found was something far worse. Not an enemy, a civilization with a memory that reached across centuries. A species with a grudge powerful enough to shake the stars. The silence stretched between them, thick, suffocating. She'd brokered peace with warlords, bought loyalty with resources, manipulated entire empires with words alone. But these humans? They didn't want trade, didn't need resources, didn't ask for allies. They had everything they needed, and they were ready to take everything they wanted. That made them the most dangerous force the galaxy had ever seen. Varos studied her, calm and unreadable. She finally asked quietly, what exactly does humanity want? He paused, then answered with a single word, justice. Her pulse quickened. Justice. She leaned forward, desperate to find the limits. The Drek are nearly gone. Their fleets destroyed. Their homeworld taken. If this is about justice, then surely, this ends now. But Varos only tilted his head, voice low, steady, and terrifying. You think it ends with the Drek? Her blood turned cold. They were the first to strike, the first to fall. But the rest of you? He leaned closer. You watched. You did nothing. He stood now, his voice growing colder with every word. Humanity had allies. Friends, we built an empire that spanned across stars. But when the war came, when we begged for help, the Council turned its back. We fought alone. We died alone. Vexari's thoughts raced. The ancient records spoke of humanity's fall, of wars, destruction, silence. But never this. Not a betrayal. Not abandonment. That was centuries ago, she said. Varos didn't flinch. And yet here we are. The message was clear. Humans never forget. You don't want justice, she whispered. You want revenge. Varos didn't deny. We want the galaxy to remember. We want everyone to remember. Her heart pounded in her chest. This wasn't about conquest. This wasn't a war of resources. This was memory, vengeance, legacy. And the Council? It was now just another name on humanity's long, long list. What happens now? She asked, her voice small. Varos turned toward the holo display. Human fleets were already moving again, consuming system after system like fire across dry grass. Now, he echoed. Now you decide. He turned back, his eyes colder than deep space. Do you want to survive the new order, or become part of the ruins we leave behind? Vexari had never known fear. Not in war. Not in negotiation. But as she looked into the eyes of Elias Varos, standing alone at the helm of a forgotten empire reborn, she felt something new. She felt helpless. And for the first time, she believed in the old myths. The ones that warned, never provoke the humans,